Hey everybody, Multi-Classic Gamer here, back with another vlog. Today is January 13th, Wednesday, 2021. And what you're looking at is my confusing, well, somewhat confusing mess of a setup for recordings that I have now. It has changed a lot in the past year. Well, actually, May last year was when I started this setup, basically. What you're looking at, basically, is a setup used for recording my Let's Plays, basically. In this setup, there are 4 capture cards. Yes, 4 capture cards. And not only that, but also in this mess, there are, I think, 8 total different consoles and access to almost 20 libraries, basically. So it's quite a setup I have going here. The idea is to be able to record my Let's Plays with, like switch consoles, basically almost on the fly, basically, like without having to do any cable management, like in order to do so. And in order to do that, you're going to need a lot of switches, basically, like HDMI switches, composite switches. If you mostly use composite consoles, which are basically, composite on its own basically is obsolete at this point. So is this video, and component is on its way out too. But there are component switches as well. You might want to use as well. It's really messy, and it'll take it's not going to be easy to explain everything. It might get really confusing at some points. But essentially, the idea is to be able to record my Let's Plays while also playing the games on my TV here. This is my office setup, basically. And I have my chair I sit on here, and as you can see, it's kind of worn from having it for a few years. It's really wearing down. But basically, I can switch between look at my computer here and looking at this TV here and do my recordings like so. So basically, so I have 4 different capture cards. The most basic one here is the Dazzle HD. Now, Dazzle HD was the very first capture card I ever had, and I actually had to replace it back in 2016 because the one I had stopped working, basically. So this is the second Dazzle HD, basically, that I still use to this day. And next up we have the Diamond GC 1500, Game Cache 1500 for short. And this records a component, basically, or HDMI. It takes a component or HDMI, but also output component HDMI, unlike the Dazzle, which only takes inputs. It doesn't output, except to the computer itself that you're recording to. So that's a nice feature of the Diamond itself. So basically, you can plug 2 devices into it, whether it be component or HDMI, and then you can output HDMI to a TV so you can see the games as you record them, which is important because there is input lag on the capture screen, basically. So it's necessary for you to use the output side of the Diamond when you're recording. Next up, we have the Elgato Hd60. This capture card is capable of recording it at 60 frames per second, which is the whole reason why I've been trying really hard to get 60 frames per second going in my videos, basically, because those of you who don't know, it basically makes the video twice as smooth as 30 frames per second. It looks like you're actually there watching me play the game, basically, as opposed to 30 frames per second where it's obvious you're watching a YouTube video of a video game. Okay, so there's that one, and it inputs and outputs HDMI, basically. So just like with the Elgato, or just like with the Diamond GC 1500, you are going to want to output HDMI to an HDMI TV so you can see what you're playing as you record it. And then finally, the 4th capture card here. This is my 2DS modded with a capture card built in, basically. I actually bought this back in, I can't remember, I think it was like 2017 or something like that. No, 2018. I actually got this with my tax return back in 2018. That was part of it. That's not all of it. So, but yeah, this is $400. Basically, it's a 2DS that they send you, and it's modded with the capture card built in, so you can actually plug this in your computer and capture 3DS footage. But not only that, but by having this 2DS here, I also have access to the DS library, so I can use this to record 3DS and DS LPs for you guys. That's pretty awesome. The problem is I haven't fiddled with this enough to figure out how it works, because the thing is, it only captures the screen, and even then, the software that it comes with doesn't come with a feature to record the footage. It only just displays on your computer. So I have to figure out how to record the footage and to capture the audio. So I haven't figured that out quite yet. So that's why I haven't used it yet. There's my GameCube memory card there, blah. Now for the TV itself, this is a Panasonic, I think it's like 30 inches. It's a very small TV, actually, for today's standards. And it's not only that, but you can see it's actually pretty old. It's January 2013. So it's a pretty old TV. It only has 2 HDMI inputs. So that's why it makes it especially necessary for me to use more HDMI switches, basically. At some point, I'll get a more modern TV here. Another smart TV, small smart TV here that'll have more HDMI inputs, and I'll make it, easier for me not to use as many HDMI switches. So now let's get to the consoles themselves. I have my PS2 right here, my Nintendo Switch, my PS4 Pro. That's my printer, so it's obviously not part of the setup, but it's just for my computer, obviously. We have my Nintendo 64, my GameCube, and we got the 2DS and 3DS as I showed earlier, which is modded with the capture card in it. And finally, sitting over here next to my desktop, my Wii U on the left side of the desktop. So yeah, and not only that, but under the hood, as I like to say, is my original Xbox. Yeah, so this is proof that I actually have the original Xbox. You just seeing obviously if you watch the Simpsons Hit and Run Let's Play, it's also being recorded off of this. So yeah, there's all my consoles that are plugged into it. And of course, up here I have my modem, and this is an external hard drive that I've been using since 2013 also. So yeah, there's that. Okay, so where do I begin? So basically, this is where things get a little complicated here. So as far as like the Dazzle HD, so this takes a Composite and S-Video. What I can do is I can, how do I explain this? So I have, plugged into Dazzle HD. What I use it for is my Nintendo 64 and my GameCube. And I think that's about it. I think it's just my N64 and GameCube that I have plugged into. I could be wrong, though. I'm not entirely sure. Actually, yeah. So, yeah. So, but the thing is, I'm saving... The N64 and GameCube are sharing a composite cable. So the thing is, the GameCube and N64, they both use the exact same output. Like they both take the same composite cable as each other. So I can just basically swap between the two whenever I'm switching between the two consoles. So this so basically the source, the GameCube and N64 outputting the source through this cable. And then it runs through here, and I basically have to... And here's where the cable management comes in. It's still not the best. I wouldn't recommend this. It's probably a fire hazard for all I know. But anyways, the cords are basically kind of wrapped around this part of the table here, so that way they don't take up as much space, and also they're not dangling on the floor here where my cat might reach them. My cat's actually pretty good about not, attacking cords, basically, but basically what I just don't want them on the floor, basically, so that's why I have them kind of wrapped around this table support here to make them, not take up as much space. So yeah, it runs right next to the PS4 Pro, and then I have a composite splitter here. This is to get around the fact that the Dazzle does not output to, output composite. So what I do is I got a composite splitter to split the signal to one way to the Dazzle and one way to my TV. So that's where it's plugged, where the composite signal is. So basically, for composites, I have my GameCube and my N64 plugged into the TV, but they're also plugged into the capture card at the same time. So I can play the games I can just play the games on my TV, or I can just record them at the same time with this composite splitter, which is pretty freaking awesome. Okay. Now in the future, if I want to, I could replace... Like, if I want to do an SNES game, I could replace my N64 with the SNES since I don't have enough space on the desk here. So I could do that as well, since that also outputs composite. Same for my NES, my original NES. And but as far as the PS1 goes, I wouldn't need to put it here because I have the PS2. Wait, I forgot to mention the fact that most of these consoles are backwards compatible with other game systems, so I can do Let's Plays of other consoles in addition to these without having to switch them out. So, like, for instance, the PS2 is backwards compatible with PS1 games, so I can do PS1 Let's Plays with my use my PS2 as well. Same goes for the. I believe the PS4. I don't think the PS4 Pro is backwards compatible with anything, but it's got the PSN store, so whatever's on there, I can play. The GameCube. Now, on my GameCube, I have my Game Boy player. So in addition to having access to the GameCube library, I also have access to the Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, or Game Boy Color libraries, because I can play all of those as well. My 2DS is backwards compatible with 3DS and DS games. Well, just backwards compatible with DS games. And my Wii U, don't even get me started. My Wii U it's backwards compatible with the Wii, but it also has the Virtual Console, which is backwards compatible with N64, Super Nintendo, NES, Game Boy Advance, DS. So, yeah, that's basically all the libraries I have access to, with just the setup alone, basically. But that's the limited library of the SNES and NES on the Wii U, which is still not as restrictive as the Switch's eShop thing, which is honestly an embarrassment compared to the Wii U. And that's the main reason I keep my Wii U around, actually, is to play those Virtual Console games. So anyways, that's the composite setup. So next up for the Diamond GC1500, that's where the PS2 and original Xbox come in, actually. So the PS2 has a composite cord, actually. In fact, I think for the PS2 and Xbox, they actually share two cords, essentially. I think. Actually, no, the Xbox has its own cord. Because what I have here is this thing right here. This is it's like a cord that I bought at Walmart a few years ago. And basically, at one end, it's got like a Wii port, a Wii cord. I don't know. Xbox 360, and it can also plug into the PS3 or PS2 because those both have the same end, basically the same plug. I don't know how you put it. So yeah, we have that on one end, and on the other end, it's got both component and composite cables. Basically, it's got video and S-video here, but also composite as well. Or sorry, the other way around: composite and component. So I have the component end plugged into the Diamond GC1500, and at the other end of this cord right here is my PS2. So, but PS2 is currently plugged into the GC1500. So, and it's once again, it's outputting HDMI. So I can plug the other cord. So yeah, this HDMI cord, it wraps around the TV just to save space, of course. And then it ends up right here in the HDMI port 2 on the back of the TV. So this capture card is plugged directly into my TV in addition to being plugged directly into my computer so I can record. So there's that. Are you still with me right now? Because it's gonna continue to get a little more confusing. Okay, now this right here, this is a component cable for the original Xbox. So if I want to record the Xbox, unfortunately, I have to unplug this. Unplug the PS2 from the capture card and plug the Xbox in. The reason why is because this cord that I have that's using the PS2, it only has an Xbox 360 end at it, which is pretty freaking big. I mean, look at this, jeez. But the original Xbox kind of cord is different, so you have to use its own cord, essentially. So there's that. That's how I'm recording with the Xbox and PS2. Now, onto the HDMI consoles. We have the PS4 Pro, the Switch, and the Wii U on the other side of the desktop. So all three of those HDMI consoles are coming into this HDMI switch right here. I got these at Walmart. It's pretty cheap. It's like 20, 30 bucks or so. And it's got 4 HDMI input ports, and 1 output. So the other end is going, so the output, which is this cord right here, is going on the other side of the computer over to my Elgato HD into the input on the Elgato. So currently all 3 of those consoles are plugged into the Elgato Hd60, which in turn is outputting to my TV. So there you go. That's the 2 HDMI sources going to my TV. Is the Elgato HD with the 3 consoles plugged into it, and the Diamond GC1500 with the PS2 plugged into it. Now, at some point, this is where it gets even more complicated. I will actually have to expand this because there's going to be, well, first of all, there's going to be more consoles coming out, and there's also more consoles with, like, for instance, let's say I get an Xbox 360. I'm going to be that's going to be another HDMI source, as well as PS3. That's another HDMI source, and then PS5, and then so on and so forth. But the thing is, I have my Xbox Series X, my PS5, out here in the living room. I mean, I will have my PS5. I don't have a PS5 quite yet, but my Xbox Series X is back there. So currently it's not set up for recording. It's just for playing, out here with on my other smart TV. Well, my one smart TV that I have. But if I want to record a game off the Xbox Series X, I'm going to have to bring it in here and put it in here. But at some point, I think what's going to happen is, especially, once I move to another apartment, I'm going to try and make it so I have all of my consoles hooked up to capture cards, basically. And at the same time, plugged into a big TV so I can play them on a bigger display or a smaller display and still be able to record with it at the same time. So at that point, I'm going to have a lot more HDMI sources and therefore have to expand this somehow. So what do? Well, here's the thing. I have another HDMI switch right here. I'm not currently using it, but I have it set up. I have it available for when I do need to use it to expand the the setup basically to include more HDMI sources. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to daisy chain these two HDMI switches together. I'm going to plug the output of this. I'm going to connect these two using the output source on this thing here into the fourth HDMI source on the main HDMI switch. And so I'll be able to connect 3 more sources to that particular HDMI cord and daisy chain them together, essentially. At some point, I might have to daisy chain more HDMI switches together, and then I'll have to set up, have like a graph, like make a graph for myself so that way I know which setup I have to have in order to access one particular console, because I'm going to have so many HDMI switches daisy chained together and so many consoles hooked up to the same exact Elgato Hd60. Like, this is insane. Now, here's something else. My Diamond is not currently plugged in, and that's because I originally had it plugged into one of the USB ports on the back of my desktop here. But now, that is taken up by my wireless headset, which I now have. This is the HyperX Flight. It's a wireless headset that you can get at Walmart for about $130. It's probably the most expensive thing I've gotten, but it's also the first wireless headset I've ever had, and so far it's been freaking awesome. Like, seriously, I can walk to the other side of my apartment and still hear what goes on this thing. So what I'll do is I'll have my music playing on my desktop, but I can wear this headset like on the other side of my apartment and like do chores and stuff, and I can listen to my music, which is pretty freaking awesome. Not only that, but it's also handy for when my cat wants to cuddle with me here, so he's not, he doesn't have the headphone cord in his face. But my original, the headset I had before was the HyperX Cloud Stinger, I think it's called. It's wired. As you can see, I've used it for a few years now, so it's pretty worn down. But yeah, it's still usable. It still works. So I use it for my console gaming, basically. And yeah, this headset, it plugs in to the headphone jack. Well, the speaker and headphone jack. It's got like an additional cable that you plug in here that splits into the headphone and microphone jack. So it was taking. So with my wireless headset now, it's taking up another USB port in my desktop that wasn't taken up before. So now currently my Dazzle's not plugged into my desktop, so it has to share this USB port in the front with the Diamond GC1500, which is currently plugged in. So there's that whole spiel. But as for the Elgato Hd60, the Elgato Hd60 is powered by my laptop, which is also right here. I have a laptop underneath this. My headset and my two computer mice here. This laptop I got back in 2016 for my birthday. I'm still using it to this very day. Basically, I'll have both computers running at the same time if I'm having a recording intensive day. So I'll have one of them uploading a video and recording videos on the other, basically. So that's pretty much a productive day for me is uploading with one computer and recording with the other. And because the thing is, my internet is not that good. It's very, very minimal. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to find something to do that doesn't require internet whenever I'm uploading videos, and that happens to be recording videos. So that's how that goes. So because I have it set up like this, where the Elgato HD60 is plugged in my laptop, in order to play my 3 HDMI consoles, the Wii U, the Switch, and the PS4, I have to turn on the Elgato HD. And in order to do that, I have to turn on my laptop because it's powered by the laptop. So if the laptop isn't on, then the Elgato HD60 isn't being powered. So I have to turn on my laptop just to play those 3 consoles, basically. So not only that, but I also have to record on my laptop because the Elgato HD60, well, I guess actually it's not for some reason. It makes sense. But the software on this thing will not run on my desktop because this freaking dinosaur is 11 years old. Or it's going to be 12 years old this year. It's a Dell 630i from 2009, so that's why I'm looking to actually get a new PC. I'm actually looking to build a custom PC of my own, possibly sometime this year, maybe the next year. It's going to be a very expensive PC. I'm not looking for budget gaming here. I'm looking for a very powerful system here. So, yeah, I'm going to be building a powerful PC at some point and using that to potentially get an internal capture card. How about the 4K 60? I think Elgato's making that or something like that. But there's like a capture card that you can plug that you can build into your computer that can record 4K quality videos. And not only that, but I'll be able to use my Elgato HD60 as well as other capture cards on said new computer. So it's gonna be a long process for me to get that new computer, but once I do, I will be pretty much a PC gamer at that point, in addition to being a console gamer. So it's just getting I do have pretty ambitious plans for the future. Okay, I know it seems like I haven't been doing much on my channel lately, but that's because I'm planning for the future and I'm, I guess, a little too ambitious at times. So I don't know. I guess I'll go ahead and give you a clue that one of the upcoming Let's Plays I will be doing is on my GameCube, actually. So I'll be using the potentially my Dazzle with that, but I'd like to, I don't know. There's more to talk about here, because the thing is, I also want to try to upscale the quality of my older consoles. So right here, this is it's a composite AV to HDMI converter, basically. So composite goes in one end, HDMI comes out the other. So that's another potential reason I might need more HDMI switches, is because I might be trying to convert my consoles that aren't HDMI into HDMI, but I don't know if that's actually going to improve the quality of the videos. If it doesn't do that, then I'm just going to keep on having them be composite, but that's another thing to consider. Because I don't know if that's actually going to do that, because I think that the only thing that thing is intended for is just to display your consoles on your HDMI TV, so that's just another crazy bag of beans. Another thing that's complicated about the setup, though, is the Wii U sensor bar, or the Wii sensor bar, anyways. The thing is, I am too close to my TV to have it set up on top of the TV or down here or anything. If you're too close to the motion sensor, it's not going to track your Wii remote. So what I've done in the past, especially last year when I was doing the Barnyard Let's Play, I have my motion sensor actually on that doorknob there, bouncing on that doorknob. That's how I was able to use it for the Let's Play last year, but it's so inconvenient. I have to set it up for recording every time. So I don't want to do that for a long term, but I might have to for now in order to use my Wii motion sensor bar. I don't know. So that's one of the downsides to it. I'm also thinking about getting the PlayStation VR at some point too. I'd like to get that because I'd like to enter the world of virtual reality at some point. Because virtual reality is the thing I need to escape from this world. Seriously, this is all this political crap going on. I don't want to talk about in this video. But yeah, I don't know what else to talk about. I mean, for the Elgato HD60 comes with its own software that records the game footage in HD60, but it doesn't really. It doesn't give you a lot of options for editing your video, so I can't use it for editing my video. So I use Pinnacle Studio 14 on my desktop. So what I'm doing is I also have Pinnacle Studio 14 on my laptop as well, so I could actually edit the videos on there, and I've done that. And there are options to export the videos in HD60, or at 60 frames per second in Pinnacle Studio 14. And I've tried that, and I upload the videos private, so you guys won't see them quite yet. But I did actually try to upload one of the videos future Let's Plays, and the audio was desynced. So that put me that brought me back to square one basically. Like, so where I'm able to record games in HD 60 frames per second, but I still can't upload them in 60 frames per second because the audio keeps on desyncing. And I'm guessing it's my laptop or something. Like maybe the hardware is still not powerful enough for the Elgato. I don't know. So that's what's been going through my mind lately, basically. So, anyways, that's all I have to say about this recording setup. I know it's a very confusing mess. I hope you're able to stay with me for most of this, but yeah, don't even get me started. Like how I still have to get like a bigger power surge or surge protector too, because I'd rather not have multiple power surges down here. That's an even bigger fire hazard to have more than one power surge down here or surge protector. Blah. You just want to be really careful when you're having a setup like this, because like I can't unplug anything because I have my PS4 on. Like I can't just switch this thing off and on like willy nilly because my PS4 Pro is it consumes a little power at most of the time because it's it's on rest mode. And not only that, but whenever I unplug my Xbox and plug it back in somewhere, I have to reset the time and the dates on the thing. So it's really annoying. So I try to avoid doing that as well. It's like these two consoles, you can't unplug them or else you're going to have issues. Like you're going to have to reset the calendar and time, or you're just going to risk damaging the console because it's in rest mode, so it shouldn't be unplugged. So it's just just crazy stuff like that I have to think about. But other than that, I don't know what else to say, so I'm going to end things off here. This has been once again January 13th. Tomorrow you're not going to see this vlog until tomorrow because I'm recording it's because it's already 7:30 at night, and I have to work in the morning tomorrow, so I'm not gonna be able to upload this tonight or anything. Also, by the way, one last thing right here, we have my Wii U gamepad, so I can, it's right here, so I can use it for my recordings and stuff. Blah, blah. I'll see you guys later. Bye. I was about to start editing this vlog, and then I remember I forgot to tell you guys what mics I use. Well, mainly lately I've been using my Yeti Nano to record my Let's Plays. It's made by the same company as a Snowball I used to use, but yeah, I got the Snowball back in 2013 winter, and then just last year, well, actually the year before last year, for Black Friday, I got this the Yeti Nano, which was $100 at Walmart, and I've been using that since then to do my Let's Plays. But I also now have the detachable microphone with my new HyperX wireless headset, which I might use in the future. But it sounds exactly the same as my HyperX wired headset, which I used from January 2017 to around the time I got this. So there you go. There's some mics. And anyways, I will see you guys in my next vlog, whenever that is. Bye.